Today's Morning First Alert Weather Show is brought to you by Sam Bernstein Law.
Good Thursday morning, Mid-Michigan. I'm First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro with another look at your First Alert forecast here and talking more about the cold weather and some of the light snow that we've been seeing as well. One thing I just want you to bear in mind, especially with the cold temps, is that any sort of snow that's going to be falling here is still going to be able to bring some slick roads to our areas. And this is something that we have seen a little bit again this morning, even in some spots like Flint and even in a few spots here near Saginaw as well. I'll take you to this live look at downtown Flint. There we are across the bricks. Again, a pretty light snow that's fallen there kind of on and off throughout the morning, but you can see how some of that snow has been sticking, say in the left-hand turn lane, for example. So just something to bear in mind. Again, you will encounter a couple of slick areas here, but much like yesterday, we aren't expecting any really widespread or really well organized snow showers for today. That's why we've just been keeping a 10% chance in. It's mainly lake effect. One thing with some of this lake effect, actually, it's been staying so low in the atmosphere here that it's not being picked up too well on the radar. So we'll go ahead and take you to a look at the First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. And you can see here on the Pinpoint Doppler how we do have at least appearing to be dry conditions on the map. Again, any of these flurries that we've had from time to time have mainly been staying below the radar beam. One thing that is kind of cool here, though, looking at the map, we do have a bit of a clearing starting to develop right over the Thumb and over the Saginaw Bay as well. So you can actually see where all of that fresh snow showing up on the visible satellite. And I'm actually going to adjust one thing here to try to get a better look at this. So what I can do is turn off the radar real quick, and then we'll also make this background just completely black and white. Usually that does help to make things stand out a little bit more. So check that out. You can see this here pretty clearly on the map where we do have that ice coverage out on the Saginaw Bay. And then we have all that snow coverage in the Thumb, so something kind of cool to see here because not too often in the winter do we have completely clear skies like this sometimes. But again, the flurries that we still have right now, these are going to be at least possible for the entire day today. Pretty much at any given point for this Thursday here, we could possibly see some flurries or some light snow falling. And I'll actually go ahead and take the radar out just a little bit more too. Again, not seeing too much in the way of snowfall activity as of now, but again, there is still some possibility for a flurry here or there. But yeah, just cold weather really is the big story here in the forecast. And as I was mentioning, with these cold temps, pretty much any snow that does fall is going to be able to bring some slick areas to our roadways. Just want to show you this here on the First Alert traffic map. Around Bay City or Saginaw, even around Birch Run or Caro, you may encounter some slick areas here if you'll be heading out soon, just because there has been some of that light snow. And then moving south into Genesee County. Now, compared to Monday morning, for example, this actually still doesn't look too bad when you compare the two mornings, but even right now we still have some slick travel, especially on Dort Highway. We're seeing some slick travel near Clio, and even on M15 from Davison up through Richfield Township and into Otisville, also around Lapeer. So again, just take it easy if you'll be heading out on those roads. Just with this cold weather, anything that falls is going to be able to stick pretty easy. Also looking at the comments here. Good morning, Cherry in Gladwin. Hope you've been having a good morning so far. I hope you're staying warm out there too, because these temps are pretty cold. So moving along here in the forecast with this cold weather, Frankenmuth Snowfest, it's day number 2, and we're actually taking a look right now. Looks like we have a couple of those artists working on some of their sculptures there right in front of our camera. So pretty cool to see. Like we were mentioning yesterday, with this cold weather, it's definitely good for Snowfest in the way that we don't have to worry about any of these sculptures melting away. I know a couple of winters ago that was actually a little bit of a concern with that milder winter, but definitely no concern of that here. So if you don't have the time to go to Snowfest today, well, it is going until Sunday, or going through Sunday. So try to make it out there at some point here during the weekend too, because it's always cool to see some of the pieces of art that these sculptors are creating out there. But for Snowfest, with the temperatures here only up to about 11 or 12 for the high temp in Frankenmuth, maybe briefly 13, but really no matter how you slice it, it's going to be a cold day today, just like yesterday. yesterday, and we only expect wind chills to reach up to maybe 5 degrees as we go into this afternoon. So it is going to stay pretty cold out there for today. And eventually, as we go into tonight, we are expecting potentially a brief period of clearing skies late in the night, also going into early tomorrow morning. So this upcoming night here is expected to be our coldest night of the week, just with the outright temperatures. And then even for the high tomorrow as well, we expect tomorrow to be the coldest day of the week, just when you're looking at the temp. We only expect a high of 9 for tomorrow. Temperatures will steadily increase this weekend and into next week. We're still below freezing even into next week, but just not quite a deep freeze like this week. Highs will be much more commonly in the 20s for next week. What we'll do here, we'll take a quick break real quick, and when we come back from the break, we will talk some more details on that cold weather, and we'll talk a little bit about some statistics with that too. So stick around here. We'll be back right after the break. All right, welcome back from that break. So again, hope you've been having a good Thursday so far. Hope you're staying warm with more of this cold weather as well. But really, again, the cold weather is the big story here in the forecast. This morning, we've had wind chills easily sub-zero. And we actually even did have a cold weather advisory earlier this morning for Roscommon, Ogama, and Iosco counties. Now that advisory has expired as of this point. I think it's very possible, though, that we do end up seeing another round of those advisories for tonight, just given how cold the air temperature is going to be by itself. The one good takeaway, though, is that we actually haven't had much of a breeze today, and we aren't really expecting much of a breeze either. Most wind speeds just up to about 10 or maybe 15 miles per hour at the most, but it is going to be a northwest wind for today. Right here on the screen, these are the current feels like temperatures. Still feels like -4 at MBS and in Bay City, -15 for the wind chill in Oscoda, -16 in Harbor Beach. Some of those areas, especially right on the shoreline of Lake Huron, pretty cold because there is slightly more wind right along the shoreline. But we will only see wind chills up to about 3, 4, maybe even 5 degrees for today, but still easily single digits. No matter what, it's going to be cold for today, so you'll still want all that same cold weather gear like you've had for the last few days now. But as I was mentioning, for tonight, this should be the coldest night of the week just by the air temperature on its own. So these numbers on your screen, that's the low for tonight. That does not include the wind chill. We're talking only about -5 for tonight in the Bay region and Flint. Up north, West Branch, Houghton Lake, for example, potentially -10 or even colder than that too. So again, very cold night is going to be ahead, and that's because we should see clouds just briefly breaking up late tonight and early tomorrow morning. We'll eventually see some clouds build up again during the day tomorrow, but should be a little bit on the clearer side, especially later on for tonight. But today marks day number 12 that we have not had a single temp above freezing here in mid-Michigan. So we've been keeping track of this tally throughout the week. So by this Saturday, that number will be 14, so 2 full weeks. And then even into next week, again, despite the fact that temps will warm up, and I'll say at least just warming up a little bit, it's still in the 20s next week, so we're still below freezing next week too. So we'll keep adding to this tally a bit more too. So pretty impressive stretch of cold weather that we've had recently. I know it kind of feels like it's been a few winters since we've had a cold stretch of weather like this too. This has been, again, just cold. Hopefully you've been staying warm in these conditions too. because a lot of these wind chills have been pretty consistently single digits or sub-zero on really a daily basis from here. Now, one interesting statistic, though, with all this, too, is our average high temp of 29 for today. That is still the coldest average high that we have for the year, at least for MBS. So this curve that you see here on the screen, if we were to plot out all of our average high temps over the course of the year, follows a curve somewhat like this. So we're still like in the trough right now, but this is technically the coldest time of the year when you're looking at average high temps. So the average high is 29 from January 14th to February 4th. And then contrasting from that, the average high in the middle of July is 83 degrees. So that is, at least technically, when you're looking at these averages, the warmest time of the year. But either way, we're almost through the trough as of this point. So technically, by next week, we'll see that average high starting to go back up. And it is only upward from there as we approach mid-February, and then even as we approach March and April as well. So if you're someone who's not too much of a fan of all this cold weather, well, maybe it does provide you a little bit of comfort knowing that we are in the coldest period of the year right now, and we're almost past it too. So these average highs technically will start to be going back up later on next week. So just something interesting to look at there, and those are the numbers rather that when you hear us say average or the normal high, those are those numbers that we're referring to, because those are calculated by taking all of the temperatures, high temperatures, say for example, recorded on a specific day for the period of record. So these record periods go back over 100 years now. So say for today, the 29th, you take all of the high temps that have been recorded for January 29th, you average them out over that period, and that results at 29 degrees. So that's where those numbers come from. So it's just kind of a baseline to see how temperatures change throughout the year, especially in the spring and the fall, because that's when those averages change at their quickest pace. Usually at their quickest pace in the spring and the fall, those average high temps are changing about 1 degree every 2 or 3 days. Whereas right now, of course, we've had that average high of 29 for almost 2 weeks. So yeah, we're pretty much past the coldest point of the year when you're looking at those averages, but still the forecast is going to keep some cold and below freezing temps around even as we go into next week. So the 20s are going to be holding on for next week. So maybe you could say it's going to be slightly more comfortable than this week, but still cold nonetheless, because even overnight lows will be in the teens. But we have 26 by Monday, about 25 on Tuesday, and then 22 on Wednesday. It is still staying cold enough, though, that any of our ice fishers and any of our snowmobilers and skiers, you don't have to worry about these conditions that we have right now going anywhere anytime soon. So that is the good news if you do partake in any of those activities here. But that's all we have for your First Alert Weather Show this morning. Again, just cold weather sticking around. Be sure to tune in at noon today on TV5 to see First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips with another look at the forecast. And then First Alert meteorologist Stone Schaefer will have another First Alert Weather Show on our live stream channels at 2 o'clock for today. All of these same live stream channels too. So be sure to tune into them throughout the middle of the day today. And of course, stay warm and take care.